I started the show when I was 21, and I had 14 years of absolute glorious fun.
The choreographer at the time, she must have given my name to Benny because I didn't know anything about it. And I got a phone call in the morning, and I didn't know who this person was. And he started chattering away, you know, and he was sort of stumbling and, yes, darling, looking for girls and need this and heard about you and blah, blah, blah. And I said, I'm sorry, who is this? And he said, it's Benny Hill, darling. Are you free for lunch today? And I said, actually, I was thinking very quickly, and I said, I am, so's my sister. You know, so I thought I don't want to go on my own.
And we had a super lunch at Serpentine Gallery, lots of champagne, lots of laughs. He seemed very interested in what we were up to, artist-wise.
I was a professional dancer. I'd had quite a bit of experience.
He said, yes, you're booked, straight away. He was a lovely, lovely bloke, he really was.
And that was my audition, really. That was kind of, OK, fine.
I seem to remember we went out for sort of a nice meal, you know, had a lovely glass of wine, brilliant meal, and that's what I had to do. I mean, I thought, oh, this is all right.
I was doing a video for Genesis, and Benny Hill happened to be working on the video with Sue Upton, in fact, who I think you've been talking to as well. And we were filming this thing for Phil Collins, and Sue took me to one side, and she said, I'd like you to come and meet Benny.
I was amazed how warm and friendly and just how down-to-earth he was. He was just an amazing character.
He didn't actually sort of say to me on the day, I'd like you to come work on the show. But he sent me this little note saying it would be great if you could come work on the show sort of a couple of weeks later.
I think he actually picked quite a few people in the show, partly, obviously, the look he wanted, but also I think he liked to like whoever he was working with.
You know, he was very intuitive, you know, even in conversation. He had a good way of picking up people's talents.
One of the first few sketches that I remember working with Benny, I was dressed up as a young girl guide. And he's basically, it was quite a funny sketch actually, and he kept pulling my leg saying how young I looked.
It was my very first day of filming, and I said, where's my costume? I was handed the tiniest little pair of pants, a bra and suspenders. And I was like, fine. And I just remember toupee taping everything so it didn't move, you know. Professional, you see there to the last. And there was lovely Alison Bell was in one house,
dressed in a sort of corset, very revealing. In fact, I was a bit concerned about how revealing it was. I was at the top of the house, and there was a ladder. Benny was the fireman.
And I was in the third house on the window ledge. And there was a genuine house on fire in the middle with an old elderly fella and his wife, desperate for help. And Benny and the team arrive, and of course they're so distracted by Alison Bell's gorgeous figure leaning out of the window, and me teetering on the edge. Of course, they leave the hapless people to burn, I think. It was really funny. The thing is, I was such a huge Benny fan anyway. I used to find it difficult not to laugh.
Trying to think about that one, I have a feeling it was something to do with jogging. And I was a jogger, we were all jumping up and down with milk bottles. You might know this sketch. And I think I played a jogger, a traffic warden, a policewoman, a peculiar housewife, and we were all doing odd things, but we had to jog, and this went on for days, but we were jogging. I think Sue Upton was an old lady jogging. Does this ring a bell? I think that was the first one.
No, I remember thinking, crikey, is this what's in store? You know.
And Dennis Kirkland, the director, always had a huge belly laugh after they'd said cut, you know, and it was a tremendous family feeling, oddly enough.
It was. Yes, fond memories. Everyone there, all the sort of makeup people, the cameraman, all the actors actually in the show was just such nice people.
Oh, it was wonderful. It was like being a big family there, really. You know, all the makeup and wardrobe ladies and all Benny's film crew. You know, they'd worked with him for years.
Working on the set, going back year after year, was very nice because it was like a sort of family environment. We all knew each other. Bob Todd, Henry McGee, who still remains a friend. It was very nice. It was sort of something to look forward to.
My own wife, if I don't stop drinking, she'll leave me. I shall miss her.
Bob Todd acted as if he was drunk nearly all day long, which was quite amusing. But I think he realised it was to his advantage because he wasn't obviously, drunk, but he liked to give that impression. So, and Henry McGee is just one of the world's best gentlemen you could ever find.
That was a sketch where I sat at the bar and Bob Todd was there. He had a pipe stuck in some false teeth. I didn't realise that at the time because sometimes they wouldn't tell you what they were going to do and it would be just a horrible shock. And I used to say, "Oh, it's so nice to meet you. You've got lovely teeth." And he went, "Thank you." And he took the pipe out, the teeth came with it.
You'd always have a laugh with them. I mean, as I said earlier, I think Benny, actually, it was important to him that he chose people that he liked.
Zip's not undone.
I know, but I bet Sue Five I could make you take your hat off in the lift.
Yes, I mean, you were always aware he was there, sort of, even if he wasn't actually in the sketch, he'd be sort of watching over you, making sure it was just right.
When we were rehearsing the dance numbers, he'd be sitting there and he used to carry things in a carrier bag and he'd be thumbing through papers and this, that and the other and he'd be biting his nails. Naughty boy.
Also, part of our so-called little family were Henry McGee, Bob Todd, and the little bald-headed chap called Jackie Wright. And Jackie was amazing because you just simply couldn't understand him. Here you were working with a little chap who's in his mid-70s, who's an Irishman, who's got a very strong Irish accent. And I think every time anyone tried to speak to him, it was, "Jackie, could you repeat that? Pardon, Jackie? Yes, what did you say, Jackie?"
I give him his vitamin tonic every day. I can't think what he does with it if he doesn't take it.
But he was a lovely little character.
Of course, we loved working with the Ladybirds, with Maggie Stredder, and if there was singing and dancing to do, the Hills Angels would always be involved in it. We'd be taken to the recording studio and sing along with the Maggie Stredder singers, which really sort of, that was another great experience, studio singing. And then we'd get to sort of mime to our playback for the dance routines as well.
When we were rehearsing at the rugby ground, a helicopter arrived one time on the green there, and Freddie Starr got out in a white tracksuit. And you have to remember that Benny had arrived, probably on the bus or with a hire cab with a plastic bag with all his stuff, and you get Freddie Starr arriving by helicopter. He was obviously wanted to talk to them about something. I'm not sure what that was all about, that meeting, but I'll never forget that. We were all so impressed. Everything stopped, and we just watched Freddie Starr doing his kind of, his white tracksuit. It was wonderful.
I feel very sad when people say the show was sexist because it wasn't at all. It was all done very much tongue-in-cheek. And at the end of the day, it was the sexy girls that always came out on top. We were never ever the loser.
I'm sorry, really. I have other plans for tonight.
More important than spending the night with Super Stud? Oh, come on. What the hell are you doing that's so damned important?
I'm chairing a meeting to decide who's going to be made redundant here.
As I said beforehand, Benny absolutely adores female company, and every sketch that he actually was involved with, it was actually him being the loser. So how can it be sexist? It was never anything against women of this world. He actually loved women of yesterday, today and tomorrow, and everything was done so tongue-in-cheek. I just think people, their own interpretations often mistook things the wrong way.
He lived a good life. He liked eating well. He wasn't a big drinker because he'd actually lost a kidney, so he had to be careful how much he drank. But he had a good time. He enjoyed himself, and he was very generous to his friends and the girls. I think he would take us out to lunch. He would take us out for little treats, and he was a good person to be with. He was fun.
He was totally at home in the studio. I think probably part of the reason for the not doing live shows was the costumes. I mean, he did love the costumes and the makeup and the whole sort of dressing up thing, which was sort of all part and parcel of the show, really. The different characters, and he had such a wide variety of characters that he could play.
Oh, Benny hated to do live work. I think if he was ever asked to appear on a show, he'd be quivering a week beforehand because he was just so nervous. People didn't realise that Benny was a very nervous figure. And because he actually enjoyed doing his TV work, he enjoyed his TV work because he was totally in control. So if we did a scene and it didn't work very well, he would just say, "Oh, blow it, I wasn't happy with that, let's do it again." And he used to quite rightly say, if I was in stage, you only ever get one chance. When you're filming, you can do a take half a dozen times.
Ladies and gentlemen, just to say thank you very much for being with us. You've been a super audience, and we look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon. And until... That's very rude. What? Oh, 2 minutes. 2 minutes under. We can't be too... We've never... Excuse us. We've never been 2 minutes under.
Yeah. Yes.
What was the pillow say up there?
Get on with it.
Oh, does it? Get on with it.
But that was because he was a perfectionist. And I think he did find it quite difficult. People would say, you know, he didn't seem in the least bit nervous, but he was. He wanted to get it absolutely right. And obviously in front of a studio audience, you know, if you do something wrong, you know, you do it again, but you've done it wrong. He liked to get it sort of right first time. So I think he was a little apprehensive, but, you know, he was always great.
When you did sketches with him, it was quite bizarre because I never remember actually rehearsing with him. And the one time I had some lines actually in one of the sketches I did with him, where I was a nurse and he was playing a deep south kind of old mama in bed, you know. And all I remember was the director said to me, "Can you do a southern accent, American southern accent?" And I said, "Well, I sure can, honey." Like that. And he went, "Good, right." And then it wasn't till the night of the show, I'd been given a script, that they said, "Okay, right, you ready to do the sketch?" And in front of an audience. So you certainly had to be on your toes. But I think it went very well, actually. I'm quite proud of myself for that.
Has the padre gone yet?
He's gone, but it wasn't the padre, it was the doctor.
I thought he was a bit damn familiar for a padre. Pass me one of my fruit gums, will you? I want to have one of them fruit gums. You can have one yourself if you like.
Oh, thank you.
God damn it. I got another one of them damn blackberry ones. I can't stand them blackberry ones. I just hate them damn blackberry ones.
Mine's a blackberry one. I like them fine.
Yeah, I can't stand them. I always put them back.
It was sort of, at the time, you don't sort of think of it as being fun, but looking back on it, it was fun. I mean, there were a lot of laughs, and we used to do the location work at Thorpe Park, which for our American viewers is a leisure centre. It's a sort of, you know, there are rides, it's a park. And we took over this park for about 3 to 4 weeks every year. And we did have some hugely funny times. It nearly always rained. It always chose to rain while we were doing it. And we would be walking on duck boards up to our knees in mud. People rushing about trying to sort of hose us down. It was good. It used to get very cold as well, but we always having to smile, you know, troopers.
He used to tell wonderful stories about girls that worked on the show that had boyfriends that wanted to control their careers and things. And he used to say, and I say to them, "What does your boyfriend know if he's a used car salesman? He knows nothing about the business."
Well, I think it was always mixed up. You know, everything was tongue-in-cheek, and it was great fun. I have to say, I look back very fondly on those days. It was great fun, and there were some lovely girls that worked on the show. Some I'd love to see them again, you know.
But just remembering that very first time we went up to the flat,
Yeah.
not knowing what to expect.
No.
And the front room was all plush,
Wasn't it?
all done
Sort
out.
of in a nice blue shag pile carpet that went up the walls, very J.C. King style.
and we were looking round,
Yeah.
sort of quite
Circular
amazed.
sofas.
And he said, "Oh, I didn't do it. It was all done up by a magazine."
TV Times,
TV Times.
Homes of the Celebrities. And he said, "I've just had it done, they've just decorated it for me." And the rest of the apartment was like a 50s time warp.
Yes,
It was
very
really
basic.
basic. We just had the front room done, which was like groovy, you know,
And the
groovy
room
late
he
70s.
kind of worked in was was full of cardboard boxes,
full of
with
videotapes in it, scripts.
All his work, basically.
I mean, he was very famous for bringing his scripts to work in a Tesco's carrier
Carrier
bag.
bag,
I mean,
absolutely.
You know, he could
Yeah,
have
I remember
afforded anything really, but he.
We bought in briefcases year after
Yes,
year.
yeah, no,
Yes.
but
he
it was always
never
a carry
used
bag,
it.
wasn't it? Yeah.
But he
I
used to
remember that
study,
well.
the greats
Yes,
as well.
Charlie Chaplin
the
was a
silent
big
greats,
fan
yes,
of the silence,
huge
yeah.
fan. And he
Yeah.
said nothing's original, and he's
No.
probably right. You know,
No, but he managed to present it all in a very original way.
he did.
Didn't
He created his own.
his characters.
And as he always said, the woman always has the upper hand.
Yeah, he always let us win in the end.
Yes,
That's the way we like it.
definitely. Yes, exactly. He knew.
He loved us women.
He did.
Really did.
He did.
He idolised us, really.
Yeah.
I mean, he put us on a pedestal. Yeah, definitely.
You know that you said he used to call you at home sometimes
Yes,
and have little
yeah.
chats. He did that to me when I was living in
Did
Hampstead.
he?
It was really quite sweet.
It was very sweet. I mean,
Just
I
phoned
sort
up
of
for a chat,
did
really.
think to myself, you know,
Quite sweet.
what's he after? But he didn't seem to be after anything.
You sort of put the phone down. You think, what was all that about? Oh, I guess he just wanted a bit of a chat, really. It's very sweet. Yeah, I mean, he really was a great friend, as well as a boss and a great comedian. So yeah.
I was incredible hulkhead. Believe it or not. Dressed all in green and sort of 6-8-inch heels, and I'm sort of 5'10" as it is. So
you towered above
I
the rest of
towered
us.
above everyone.
Yeah.
You looked amazing.
Absolutely
Wow.
amazing.
Yes, and I think
Didn't you get to pat little Jackie Wright on the head as well?
Oh, I was always patting him on the head. Yeah. And I was a whip woman as well.
Whip woman.
Yeah, I've seen the photographs. Yeah.
Oh, have you? Yes, but no, amazing outfits, amazing outfits. And I also remember going up to Harley Street because I was vampire. And, being fitted for the vampire teeth. And I thought, this is...
Wow, it's a great experience, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. We worked together at the Talk of the Town.
Joe was lead singer.
I was lead
dancer.
Yeah.
And
so we used to see each other at night as well as during the day
Day.
sometimes, because we'd film at Teddington during the day, and then we'd be out doing the review show in the evening in the West End. So we were pretty busy girls then.
we
weren't
were. And then the three of us were all in a group together, dance group.
Yes, Foxy Feeling.
Yes.
Which was Little and Large show later on.
Yeah.
So we
So
sort of worked together quite a lot.
We
really.
did. We were never off the box at
Yeah.
one time. That's very
And you
funny.
used to live very close to me, so I used to pop round and see you.
That's right, that's
yeah,
right.
one time you lived in Hammersmith.
That's it. Yeah, we were all very close at one
Yeah.
time, weren't we?
And now,
we're grown up.
25 years on, or whatever it is.
All got children. And,
Yeah, it's amazing.
yeah.
So anyway, we're very thrilled that Benny's so popular still. It's
Yes,
lovely. It's
absolutely.
nice for us, and as Alison was saying, it's jolly nice getting those repeat checks. You just
Jolly
feel
nice.
saying thank you, Benny. Nice little present there. Well, we'd turn up and be given breakfast as soon as we arrived and tea, and go straight into makeup, and there would be an army of makeup and hairdressing girls.
Full body makeup.
Full body
usually,
makeup,
especially
usually.
for you.
Full body makeup,
Green usually
face,
the shade.
hair, and then Benny would often come round to the makeup room and have a chat with each and every one of us. We'd go round and say, "Morning, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Have you read your script? What do you think of this, that, and the other?" And just talk to you generally about how you'd been getting on and stuff like that. He was very friendly like that. And then after that, we'd be into wardrobe for fittings. And then down to, usually no rehearsals, straight down to the set, and Benny would join you, and then you'd just shoot it, really. I mean, very rarely I rehearsed anything.
And you generally didn't take that many takes.
No,
did you?
one or two, 3 takes max, and that was it, it was done.
It was different with the dancing.
Different with Hills Angels,
with
yeah.
the dancing routines. But even then, you were pressurised. I mean, I remember one particular routine. It was quite tricky. It was at Carmen, where it was like the opera camp comedy Carmen.
Or was that when Benny was wearing the cummerbund?
Yeah, it was
And the
hilarious.
moustache, that was
But
really
also
fun.
there was one tricky dance bit where we were sort of up, round, all sort of like...
Dressed like flamenco dancers, weren't
Yes,
they?
it's sort of like we were rolling the cigar type girls, cigar girls.
Yes,
really,
the Cuban
we were
cigars
sexy
on the
cigar
thighs,
girls,
yeah.
you know. And then all of the girls were supposed to spin round and be on the floor and then twist round and then jump up again. And I twisted the wrong way. So you imagine me, I'm right in the middle of it, and they're twisting that way and then go down. It happened twice. Now, you hear of these big stars 15 takes later, I did it twice and Dennis said, "OK, let's do it one more time for Alison." Good luck, Alison.
Good luck, Alison.
Let's hope we get it right next time.
I remember that.
And I was like, oh my God, that's right. So, yes, it was fun, but at the end of the day,
It was
we were
professional.
You do
had to
your
do your
stuff.
job properly.
And
Yeah.
it wasn't very often that I mucked up, but when you did,
But
you
they
sure
just
felt
make
the
a laugh
heat.
of it, though, wouldn't they?
Well, that was, he was being funny.
Yes.
That was his humour.
That was his
like,
humour,
it was like a
yeah.
little bit of a dig, but it's like...
Yeah. Yeah, you had to be professional,
Yeah.
know your lines. I mean, you'd get sent the script, a couple of weeks before starting. So you had to, we made it look a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Well, of course it was.
But we had to be professional as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was great training, actually, wasn't it?
Absolutely. It was, you were saying about variety.
Yeah.
At the talk. I mean, that in a way was a kind of a variety show because it was great for us because, I got to dance, I got to dress up in different costumes, be different people. do some acting, which I was quite keen on doing.
Yeah.
More little acting.
Yeah, we got to have a go at everything, didn't we?
So the girls got to do a bit of everything, and I think that was what was fun about it. There's no sort of opportunities now for dancers coming out of.
No,
there's
few.
very few sort of variety shows with comedians.
It's all sort of quiz shows now or reality shows.
Yes. I mean, it's just the television is just full of kind of amateurs, really.
Well, you don't know who can do what. I mean, you did have to do everything when you worked with Benny. You had to act, dance.
Sing.
Yeah, we did singing with Maggie Stredder singers.
Group singing,
Group singing.
Remember that. All of us singing
we had to be all rounders, proper variety performers. You couldn't turn up there and not know how to dance or not know how to act or not know how to sing. You had to be able to do it.
Absolutely. And the strange thing is that the Ladybirds did, of course, the Benny Hill show, but also one of the Ladybirds was the Maggie Stredder singers, and they did Little and Large as well. So it's the same woman coaching us singing as well. It was like different channels. But.
As we were saying, when we were doing Little and Large together, we got rebooked again after that, and I think you probably saw it and thought, oh, they're off doing Little and Large, I want them back!
They're my girls!
Because you had to say it's not being used, you think you drop.
And
exactly.
Well, obviously, he liked to sort of change and use, he knew a lot of people in the business, and he wanted it to look different for every series. And a lot of girls wanted to be on the show. I mean, it was a good show to be on. And but it was quite funny after that. He must have watched it and thought, I think I want them back.
Yes, because the phone would go.
The phone would go, oh, hello, it's Benny here.
Yes. And also, I did one time a musical, because I was trying to get more into musical theatre at the Royal Exchange, and even then they picked up that I was a Benny Hill girl, so they'd done a piece in one of the Manchester papers saying ex-Benny Hill girl stars in a musical, and then blow me down, I finished that and I got a phone call straight into the show again, so I thought, oh, he used to pick up all the publicity as well. So
anything where he was mentioned.
Anytime his name was
mentioned.
So
if you mentioned him in your CV or anything, he would probably know about it.
Definitely. So it's quite interesting.
Not really, not very often. I mean, not really, no, because I mean we just went off into different fields, and I lived abroad for a couple of years, and
I was travelling in a band,
and Alison joined a band and was travelling. So we just diversified and went off into different fields. But we always thought about him, and
those were happy days,
and reminisce and that sort of thing.
As time got on, and as I sort of got to know the way how Benny worked, and Benny knew the type of things that I liked to do, I made it known to Benny that I was very interested in doing character stuff and dressing up, because it's really quite amusing to see yourself go through this transformation. Every girl ideally wants to be seen on TV as being a very sexy, glamorous, beautiful girl. And after a while, it becomes a little bit boring. And I think that's how it actually got started, when I actually became the first Wonderground lady.
A lot of people don't realise that Benny Hill was, in fact, a highly intelligent guy. He had a wonderful stock of black and white movies, which he used to sit down and look at, and got a lot of his, I think, ideas from the original black and white movies. He loved all that sort of stuff.
I used to go around to his flat, and we actually used to watch all the old movies, all the old black and white Chaplin and Laurel and Hardy films. And I think it was because Benny knew that I was sort of capable of adapting to the character parts, and that I'd actually shown a lot of interest in Laurel and Hardy, that he thought, well, what better person to offer the part to than to Sue? And I'm glad he did. I don't think people realise the performance it took to actually try to look like our characters. Both Benny and I were probably in makeup for about 2 hours.
I was very lucky because he booked me to do 2 weeks of what they called insets, which was basically all day working on comedy sketches, which would then be chopped up and put in different shows over the various series. And so that was really nice to do that, particularly for a young actress who wanted to get into light entertainment and comedy.
You've not got Asian flu. You've got Egyptian flu. You're going to be a mummy.
That was great experience, sort of to just be working with scripts. You get sent a big script. You'd instantly look through for your parts in it and that sort of thing. And it was always great fun, real burlesque humour.
I'm sorry. It's this music. It really frightens me. It's real scary.
So sorry, my darling. I did not realise.
It was like one big happy family there. Everybody knew one another really well, and you build up a rapport over the years. Even down to the people that bring in the tea, all the caterers, all the floor assistants, all the makeup and hair artists. We were all just so very friendly with one another. It was a lovely family atmosphere.
Excuse me. You seem to resemble each other. It's quite extraordinary.
Yeah.
Was your mother ever chambermaid here?
No, my father was a gardener.
Well, they were sort of a bit. I mean, they were seasoned professionals. Let's make no mistake about that. And all of them were very, very funny people, very funny men, and I admired them tremendously.
They were really terrific characters and great people, and been in the business a long time. So for somebody who's young and just starting out, I mean, it's great to sort of. They were very happy to pass on any knowledge and experience that they had, which was great.
You've just arrived, sir?
I got a fright.
How did you get a fright?
With a fright ticket.
A flight?
Yeah, it was a miracle.
What was the miracle?
When we take off, it was a miracle.
You took off from a miracle?
United States of America.
America?
Yeah, bloody trick.
He sent me this fantastic photograph of him and Leslie Nielsen sort of having a beer together in New York, I think. I think he was quite surprised how the humour had gone down so well there, actually.
I think it did come as quite a shock, yes. And obviously he was just, sort of really pleased, really thrilled. I mean, I think he was, I think he went over to America and did a bit of filming there. I wasn't involved in that, but he was really excited about that, really excited to think he made it big over there.
Well, I remember him saying that, people pay for me to fly over and this, that and the other, and people keep giving me cars. He said, but I don't drive. He was quite, amazed at it all, I think.
But I did do a sketch with him where we were both playing American characters. I was playing an American girlfriend of his, and he was meeting up with me in a bar.
Say, you look like my third husband.
How many husbands have you had?
2.
Of course, Dallas and all those programmes were really big on telly then. And there was definitely more of an American feel coming onto British television. And he was very intuitive to that, and I think he probably would have, he was very good with accents anyway. I mean, hilarious with accents.
But looking back on the shows now, compared to what you see on television today, I mean, these are so innocent, these shows. They really are. But we got a lot of flack. How can you disport yourselves around wearing next to nothing? But by the time I was doing the shows, which was much later on to just prior to Benny's death, we were actually wearing far more clothing than the girls used to wear in the past. I mean, if you look at the 70s footage, the girls were wearing next to nothing, very scantily clad. But we were actually wearing, much, much longer clothes. In fact, on one occasion, when I was donning my WPC Fudpucker uniform, which was quite often, he actually sent me back to the wardrobe department because the costume had been cut quite short. And he said, no, I want it down to the knees. I want it to look as if it could be a policewoman's outfit. I mean, I didn't look like a policewoman with all the hair, but he did not want to have such sort of titivating costumes. It was sort of certain powers behind the scenes that wanted to encourage that, but he actually wanted more realism as the shows became more contemporary.
And the kids absolutely love the shows, and I think they are very representative of today's world, and they don't see any sexism or anything nasty or rude about the shows. There never was to begin with. It's only people's interpretations. And as the years and the decade has gone by, Benny's shows are just as popular now as they were years ago. The only thing is, he doesn't have the criticism anymore.
But I just think he was aware of the times. He was aware that people, it's so old-fashioned to be sort of whoring about girls rushing around in bras and pants. It's old hat. And I think he realised that. And I thought, it's time to move on.
I mean, you can't really find a show where you get hilarious comedy, beautiful girls dancing and singing as well. You don't often get that all three together anymore, which is a shame.
I think Benny Hill, because it was quite innocent humour, but it was funny. It wasn't. I think it just appeals, really. It appeals across the board.
As I say, anyone I speak to, they just smile, and they're sort of would like to see more Benny Hill, and yet it's shown everywhere, all over the place, making people laugh, and not really in England, which is a shame, really.
Luckily, he didn't live too far from me, so we would talk once a week. I'd just find out what he was up to, how he was doing. We'd go out for lunch. I think there were a little group of us that he really sort of felt he could relax with, and he was actually very loyal to his friends as well.
I think Benny brought a lot of laughter, a lot of fun into this world, and I wish he was around now. You know, I think sadly missed. That's all I can say.
I remember him fondly, really. I think actually it was almost like a father figure in a way. I think he actually would like to have had children.
I mean, he became a great friend of mine over the years we worked, and I got to know the real man, really. He wasn't shy. He had a great life. He did what he wanted to do. You know, a lot of people say, oh, did he lead a sad life, whatever. Not in the least.
But yes, when I get those repeat fees now through the door, I sort of, they've gone on and on for years. I haven't done it for such a long time. I sort of look up and I sort of say, thanks, Benny. You know, I sort of feel as if he's watching over us and making sure that we all sort of are okay.
He was an incredibly clever man. I saw a programme on telly the other day, and it showed some very, very early footage and some beautiful, beautiful stuff, sort of clowning and just beautiful to watch. Really, really talented, I think.
I don't know whether he did feel comfortable with being an international star, but, because he was pretty sort of tough and professional. I think he probably could have handled anything, really. But I think it probably was a great surprise and a wonderful honour as well. I mean, it's great, isn't it, to be appreciated all over the world?
Well, I mean, the fact that he is watched around the world, as you say, I mean, he must have made more people laugh than any other comedian ever, quite honestly.
It's well deserved. He had a brand of humour that people the world over, if I'm abroad and anybody finds out I was on a Benny Hill show, oh, Benny Hill, oh, fantastic, da 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 da, immediately. It's one of those things that everybody knows, and how fantastic is that to leave that as a legacy?
I just think it's absolutely amazing. How many other TV personalities can have these tributes that people are still interested 12, 13 years after his death? I think it's an absolute tribute to Benny, and I think he would be over the moon.